Once upon a time, in a faraway land, there lived a woman named Hannah. Hannah was kind and loving, and she had a deep faith in God. But there was one thing that made her very sad. Hannah didn't have any children, and she longed to be a mother. Every year, Hannah and her husband, Elkanah, would travel to a place called Shiloh to pray at the temple. At the temple, people would offer their prayers and sacrifices to God. Even though Hannah was sad, she always went with her husband and prayed earnestly. She believed that God was always listening. One year, when they arrived at the temple, Hannah couldn't hold back her tears. She knelt down and prayed with all her heart. "Dear God," she whispered, "please give me a son. If you bless me with a child, I promise to give him back to you." The priest Eli, watching her, thought something was wrong and came over to talk to her. "Why are you so sad?" "I'm not sad because of anything wrong," she explained. "I'm just deeply troubled, and I was pouring out my heart to God." Eli saw that Hannah was truly sincere. He smiled gently and said, "Go in peace, and may God grant you what you have asked of him." Every day, she remembered her prayer and trusted in God's plan. She knew that sometimes God asks us to wait so that we can grow in faith and learn patience. Finally, after a long time, something wonderful happened. Hannah became pregnant. She was so joyful that she could hardly contain her happiness. When her baby boy was born, she named him Samuel, which means God has heard. Hannah knew that Samuel was a gift from God, just as she had prayed for. But Hannah also remembered the promise she made to God. When Samuel was still very young, she took him to the temple to serve God, just as she had vowed. She handed him over to Eli, the priest, and said, "This is the child I prayed for, and God granted my request. Now I give him back to the Lord, and he will serve God all his life." Though it was hard to leave Samuel at the temple, Hannah knew she was doing the right thing. She trusted God's plan for Samuel and believed that God would take care of him. Every year, Hannah visited Samuel and brought him a special robe she had made with love. God blessed Hannah for her faith and patience. She was later blessed with more children, but she always remembered how special Samuel was because she had waited on God's timing. Through Hannah's story, we learn that patience is not just about waiting. It's about trusting that God's plan is always good. Sometimes we have to wait for what we pray for, but we can be sure that God hears us and knows what is best.